Hey, it's Karyn Bryant for MMA H.E.A.T. I'm talking with Gegard Mousasi, who's fighting Mark Muñoz at UFC Fight Night 41 in Germany. Gegard, of course, always great to talk to you. How you feeling these days?
Thanks. I'm good, Karyn. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, okay, so listen, the fight is coming up. We've known about this for a little while. You've done all your training in Holland, but how's your camp? Because I know, camps can be up and down. They're not always good.
Well, I had some speed bumps this time, but every time I had a really good training camp, I felt really good. I did not so good in the fight. So when I had a little bit difficulties in the training camp, it always went much better. So, maybe it's a good luck thing.
Maybe. Well, what kind of difficulties with partners or with injuries? What went wrong?
Well, training and personal stuff and distractions.
What's your name, Gegard? I'll beat her up.
Distractions. So, yeah. But other than that, I feel in top shape. So I could fight this week. It's not like I'm not. So I know I just have to be ready and do my thing on the fight day. So.
Right. All right. Well, that makes sense. I mean, at the same time, though, when you fight, the fight is supposed to be the easy part. So that kind of helps you. Maybe that the camp was so hard. The fight is supposed to just be sort of playtime.
Yeah, because every day I had to. Every day I'm fighting. I'm tired, So I'm just looking forward one more week of hard training. So I'm just looking forward that the training camp is finished. Then is the weight cut, and then it's the fight, and then I have rest. Yeah,
but you're pretty good about your weight, right? It's not that hard for you to make 185.
No, this time it's gonna be easy because last time I had to drop a lot of weight. I was coming of an injury, so I had to drop a lot of weight. This time I was already, I didn't get that big after the Machida fight, so I was easily on weight again.
All right. Well, I've seen you eat though down in Brazil. I mean, I know you can put it away. So can I. So I should talk, but.
Yeah, I love eating. It's my favorite hobby.
I understand on that one. Well, you and Mark have that in common. Mark loves to eat as well. He's the first person to tell you that. So at least you have a common opponent in fighting the weight battle there with Mark.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna eat after the fight.
Nice. Now it's interesting. I know that you like each other. Was this a difficult fight for you to accept, knowing that Mark's somebody that you really you have no beef with? You like the guy, right?
Well, I didn't know him, but we became friends with the media stuff in Germany. So we had a romantic dinner, so it's all good.
But, getting back to the serious stuff, you did have to do some press with Mark. What was the crowd like over there? I mean, there hasn't been a show in Germany for a little while. How were you guys received? What's the welcoming toward this fight card?
Well, we had some fans meeting. There was some good gathering, and. Other than that, I wouldn't know a lot about that.
Well, you said for you this is kind of like a home game, though, right? Because it's not a long flight, and basically you have a bit of a fan base over there, right?
Yeah, I have a lot of friends and family coming to see the fight, so I'm gonna feel comfortable, and it's a short trip, so I'm gonna have some advantages. But other than that, it's. At the end, we have to fight in the cage. The crowd is not going to help, but I feel like I'm going to be more comfortable going into the fight.
So, yeah, I mean, because I understand the idea of having your family there could be comforting, but at the same time, if we're talking about distractions again, sometimes if there's too much of that around while you're trying to get into your fight headspace and, you're dealing with, your cousin, Nico needs more tickets and, that kind of thing.
I don't deal with that. I let my brother deal with that. Yeah. And so far, everything has been good. Yeah. Of course, fight week, I'm going to have to see everyone. But I think it's good. It's going to take off the edge of thinking about the fight. Because the only day you have to concentrate is the fight day. Yeah. And then I'm going to take my time for it. Because other than that, it's just a waste of time to think about the fight and worrying about the fight. So I think it's going to be positive.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know people talk about MMA math, and these guys have common opponents, and this is what happened. You fared a lot better with Lyoto Machida than Mark did. Do you consider that at all? Does that factor into, does that give you any extra confidence?
Well, it was too short of a fight against Machida with Munoz, so you can't say a lot about that. But I think it's a different fighter. Mark Muñoz. He's a more of a wrestler, and everyone feels like my wrestling is my weakness. So
Right.
I think it's a fight that could go either way. But I'm not worried at all going to the ground. I'm gonna go get right back up, or I'm gonna fight on the ground. People think like his wrestling is good. He's gonna take me down, and the fight is finished. But I feel like the fight still continues. I'm not gonna this time. I'm not gonna stay on my back and feel comfortable fighting from my back. I'm just gonna. You're not gonna win fights fighting from your back. So we don't want to be there.
No, you don't want to, and yes, you don't want to be there with the Donkey Kong punches. They're hard. No, but I felt like in the fight with Lyoto, you were very good about scrambling and getting back up. You were taken down a few times. How did you feel about it? Because I felt like you were pretty fluid in getting back to your feet.
He was very slippery. I don't want to say anything, but I felt he was very slippery in the fight. But what can I say? It was what it is. What it is.
Right. Do you feel, I mean, a lot of people don't get that far with Lyoto, and I know the fight didn't go your way, but in some way, do you feel at least that it was kind of I don't know that it was a victory because I know you didn't win, but that you had a decent showing in that fight, or do you not like how you performed?
No, not at all. I think, but it's difficult to fight him because he doesn't, like with Mark Muñoz, it can easily be a fight, because he comes to fight. And Machida, he fights, but he's very smart about it. He doesn't do, he's not it's not very physical. He's just a lot of mental, and he just do what he needs to do to win the fight. So he was good at not letting me fight the way I wanted to be. So, but I think with Mark Muñoz, it's a very different fight.
Yeah, I think Mark is less strategic in the way that Lyoto is, and less about the technique. Not that he doesn't have technique, but I know what you're saying. It's less of a. You had even told me before that you had said if you played, if you just kind of wait for Machida, you felt like maybe nothing would happen, so you kind of have to chase him around, right?
Yeah, I think game plan was bad. Not bad, but it could have been better. And adapting in the fight, I did the same thing from round 1 to round 5, and that was going forward. I think maybe changing the fight and adapting that I didn't do also. And I think. Yeah, it was difficult to fight him. Let's say that.
No, for real, he's difficult. Well, I'm curious what you think about his fight with Chris Weidman, because a lot of people argue, and I kind of consider it that Chris has a more difficult fight now. That Vitor Belfort is easier to figure out, and that Lyoto Machida is going to be a more difficult fight for the champ.
Yeah, I believe so. I think I feel like Chris Weidman is the best, and but I would slightly give the edge to Machida, but. That's only because the fight starts stand up. That's the only reason why I give Machida the slight edge.
That makes sense. It looks like you have a bit of a black eye right now. Did you get tagged in practice?
Yeah, last week I tried to train with small gloves because the distance is a little bit different, and he punched me in the face.
So you got a lesson on head movement that day, right?
Yeah, it didn't go well. But one of the lesser days, but after the second round, I thought, okay, we're gonna different, and then I did well. Yeah.
Now I know I saw you a few weeks back. You came over and saw Anthony Hardonk, and you were here for a little bit doing some press things. But we've talked about this. Would you consider coming over here more on a permanent basis to train up at Fortune Gym? I know that they've been talking to you about maybe working the boxing up there and stuff. Is that a consideration you're really going to take for your next fight?
But I'm thinking about coming after this fight to train, like a little bit like what Gustafsson does. He does his training camp in Sweden, but he goes to US to improve his wrestling. So that's what I want to do after this fight. But I'm doing always my training camps in Holland, so I don't want to change that. But to improve, I feel like I need to come to US, but when I don't have a fight.
A lot of girls here, though, so a lot more distraction in Los Angeles.
Not good for me, yeah.
So listen, are you going to give yourself a little bit of vacation after this? You had a couple of fights, pretty close together. You fought in February, and now you're fighting again in May. Are you going to give yourself a break, go on a holiday? What are you going to do?
Well, manager is going to come and stay with us. We're gonna go to some festivals, and we're gonna go to France maybe. But I don't feel like going on holidays, to be actually. I have a lot to do here in Holland.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Besides the fighting, you have a lot of other interests.
Yeah, I feel like I can do anything that you can do on a holiday. You can do it also here. So why should I go travel? It's the same. Only the weather is not so good. But
all right, yeah. I mean, you know, I guess that makes sense. I
but
definitely
it's
like
getting summer now here in Holland. So yeah, I feel good. I'm gonna have a holiday in Holland. So
Nice. All right, well that makes sense with mom and your brother and
yes,
all that
friends.
good stuff.
Yes.
So, do you have a goal in mind? You know, if you get past Mark, where would you like to go next? Is there somebody? I mean, your division is very competitive. Is there somebody though that you have your eye on that you think you'd match up well with?
I think if I win this fight, I'm gonna get a winner. So it's gonna be probably Kennedy or Luke Rockhold. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
I think if I win, I'm gonna get one of those fighters.
Is there one that you would prefer to fight?
No, not really.
You and Tim never fought before in Strikeforce, huh?
No.
Yeah, well, certainly they're two different styles of fighters, he and Luke Rockhold.
Yeah, they're both tough.
Yeah.
They're both tough fighters. So anyone in the top now, middleweight is now stacked. It's more stacked than I think any division now. So it's gonna be a tough fight of whoever I fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Gegard, that'll about do it, I guess. I'm gonna spare you the grilling for on the other stuff. But
You should ask what we did with Mark Muñoz. You gonna speak to Mark Muñoz?
I will. I probably will. I'll ask you.
You should ask where we went in the restaurant. Maybe he can tell you a good story.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that. Well, listen, give my best to your family. It's always nice to talk to you.